From high atop the mountaintop of Mount Manitoba, it's the Hall of Fame show with me, Kirk Buchner, and Evan Nolan. We are the owners, the operators, the people behind NotinHallOfFame.com, the fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Vote. Maybe, hey, you don't want to vote in the primaries? That's okay, but vote on this. www.notinhalloffame.com/USA, because you decide, and it's pure democracy. There's no electoral college. There's no baseball state. There's no football state. It's all up to you. And technically, you can cheat because you can vote every day, just once a day.
Vote early, vote often.
There you go. So check that out. It's something we're very proud of, and we're going to announce the first class this fall. So it's season 3, episode 27. So we've already lasted way longer than CNN Plus. But and that's
it's the third Carlton Fisk episode.
Oh, very well. I like that. I like that.
Man who has 2 numbers retired, 27 by the Red Sox, 72 by the White Sox. We'll never get to episode 72 of a year, though. It's a little beyond us. That's too much work.
Yes. But we are going to react, and technically we're going to do it twice because a group of us, I'm just going to plug something we already did. We had our Hall of Fame committee put together who we thought should be the seniors for the next few years. And now the real ones, they decided they're going to do that too. Like, all right, we already did the work.
Real ones.
Yes, the real ones. But check out what we already did. You can find that on anywhere you listen to your podcast. I'm pretty sure we're on it. We've got to be.
Probably true. Yeah, and our YouTube channel's been picking up recently. I like it.
It has. I haven't been told off yet, so I don't know. I got blocked.
We're clearly not working hard enough.
No, I guess not. But so we're kind of going to do this twice because the Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced the semi-finalists for the seniors class and for coaches and contributors. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've ever been transparent about it. In fact, I know that's the first time they've ever done this. Usually we just get, okay, here they are. So
the last couple of years we've gotten, since the class of 2020,
where
they had like a whole bunch of at least semifinalists or finalists listed, and then 10 of them got in. Since then, they have been giving us the finalist list. I don't remember if this is the first time they've actually given us the semifinalist list.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is.
I meant to open this. Let me check my spreadsheet.
So why don't we just get right to it? These are the 25 players, and as I read them off, Evan, what I want you to do is give a yay or nay, not for what you think, not for what you personally want, but for whether you think they're going to be part of the group that'll be pared down to the 12th at the end of the month.
Sorry, so actually they have given semifinalists the last 3 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not this many.
Not this many, no. No, we've gotten basically the 10 or 12 before. Essentially, we've gotten the finalists before who weren't officially nominated.
Right.
And so I have them listed on semifinalists. So this is actually technically the first time we've gotten all the semifinalists list.
Okay, I thought so. All right. Right. So first one, and just again, I think you and I are both high on him, as are the people in Cincinnati. We have a former quarterback, Ken Anderson. You think he gets to the 12?
To the 12, yes. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to have 2 Bengals in the 12, and he's the first.
I agree with you. I'm personally bigger on on Ken Anderson. I think it's sort of been criminal that he hasn't really been considered as much, but man, he was just I guess 1 game away, we could argue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's Joe Montana and that loaded team. And we're going to see somebody else from one of his teammates. But yeah, Anderson's also a 2-time finalist. Going alphabetically, Maxie Vaughn. It's nice to see him.
Yeah, so this is the second time. We saw him for the first time on the ballot at all last year.
Right. But never a finalist.
Never finalist. But a 9-time Pro Bowler, played for the Eagles and Rams and Redskins. Certainly seems to have a resume. It's hard to see. I think he's probably going to end up just outside, but I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think he's going to be one of the nominees. I think Ken Anderson has a shot to be one of the nominees. I don't think Vaughn is going to be there, but it's certainly somebody they need to be considering.
So here's a player I remember loving as a kid. In retrospect, I don't think he's going to make the 12. Wide receiver Mark Clayton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Clayton and Duper. Two wide receivers for the early, very good, never Super
Very,
Bowl
very
winning
good.
Miami Dolphins teams. I don't think he's going to get there. As for the 12, it's good to see his name circling through, though.
It's a nice name to see. One guy who I'm personally very, very big on. Well, I hated the Niners when I was a kid. Hated them. I always hated sort of like the power teams, right? So the Niners, the Redskins. I guess now I wouldn't have a problem with the Commanders if I was my 8-year-old self, based on that logic.
Yeah.
Roger Craig. If we talk about influence, there's a lot of Roger Craig in today's NFL.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Roger Craig is a multiple-time finalist before. So he is someone who's been circling on here for a while. He was one of the 20 people who are one of the 10 out of the 20 from the 2020 senior class was not selected.
Yeah. And for those who don't remember what that was, in 2020, they did that centennial class, where they came up with, put forth 20 nominees and went through with 10 of them. 10 in, 10 out. Craig was one of the 10 out, which you almost want to think it's a matter of time. Craig is gonna be one of the 12. I don't know.
I mean, he was a finalist on the main ballot in 2010. He was his one only appearance on the main ballot. But he is certainly somebody who, if there's one more person from those 49ers teams you think is going to get in, it's Roger Craig.
Right. Lavi Dilweg. So this is going like way back, but certainly well earned. 4 Pro Bowls in his limited time, but a champion and also a finalist of that 2020 Centennial, 3-time champion.
And first time we've seen him return since then, though. He wasn't anywhere as far as we tell in 2021 or 2022.
Yeah.
All pro, first team all pro for his first 5 seasons in the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty damn good.
That's not bad.
And a winner.
Yeah, and a winner. So yeah, certainly somebody again on their list. We'll see. So far I would put him on the cut line probably of getting into this.
Really?
I'm not.
Well, cut line of the 3 or cut line of the 12?
Looking at this list, I'm looking at this list. It's going to depend on how far back they actually go. Because one of the complaints about the 2010 list was there were just large portions of league history that's completely forgot. And I think he makes a 12. I don't think he makes a 3, but I think he makes a 12. Probably it's like number 11 or 12.
Okay. Someone who momentum is on his side, maybe because I think we've befriended a lot of people in the Denver Broncos community. Randy Gradishar, great to see him back. Another or third person in a row as part of that 2020 group. Former Defensive Player of the Year. He's in the 12, right? Gotta be.
Yeah, Randy Gradishar's getting elected.
I agree. I think he's. I would never say locked because there's no such thing. Right. The way they look at seniors, but I'd say he's a lock to be in the 12. I'd say if he doesn't get in as one of those 3, he's the last one out, I would think.
Yeah. Gradishar has been on the main ballot twice in 2003 and 2008. There's another one who's come up who should already be in the Hall of Fame, but got, to be honest, screwed. Who I think that actually, of the people who's multiple returning coming on here, I think that Gradishar's got the best shot just from the uprising of support online, because the other one has absolutely no support when we get there.
I think I know who you're talking about. So cornerback Lester Hayes, man, was he good. I was like during COVID, I rewatched a bunch of old playoff games just because there's no sports on. When I was in Barbados. So like, I think I watched the entire 81, 82, 83 playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or what I could find anyway. Or just had it in the background while I'm working. And just every time Hayes is on the field. Oh man, what a special player. But a 4-time former finalist. But not of 2020.
No, I kind of feel like Hayes' momentum is stalled a little bit.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not quite sure. Because he wasn't a semifinalist in 2021. He was last year in 2022. He's been a semifinalist 9 times, by the way. So again, it's possible. This is the one I was thinking of when I was talking earlier. It is possible that we see Hayes, but I just feel like I'm not surprised he makes 12. I think I'm a little surprised with the mix of people we have here if he makes the final 3.
Okay. So here's an interesting surprise.
This is a very interesting one.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it. I think this is a throw on the wall and see what happens. And I think there's a couple like that. Chris Hinton, offensive lineman, 7-time Pro Bowler, never a finalist. What do you think?
It's great to see his name circling. He has been a semifinalist 1 time.
Only once.
Only once, back in 2017. He was a semifinalist.
Oh, okay. Any shot in hell?
I don't think so. There are just too many other people at his position who I think are probably ahead of him, even on this list.
Yep.
That it's good to see his name, but it's good to see his name because it's circulating. But there's at least 3 other offensive linemen, probably 4, who are ahead of him on this list. So,
well, just getting on anything like this, I mean, it's pretty special.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, agreed, 100%.
Chuck Howley, linebacker, still the only person to win an MVP on a losing squad on a Super Bowl, but so much more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chuck Howley is somebody who I think has a legitimate shot. I think we'll see Howley in the top 12. He's only ever been a semifinalist these last 2 years as a senior. I don't know if he's going to make it all the way, but he's going to be in the mix over the next 3 years as somebody who has a shot at getting in.
I'm very huge on him personally. Going way back again, I wonder if this sort of cancels, I don't want to say cancels each other out, but the one who is probably hurt the most by a peer, as weird as this is to sound, I don't even think they played in the same, no, but they didn't even play. I don't think they were even teammates, but Cecil Isbell.
Yeah, they weren't quite. Dilweg came first, but Isbell's was another one of the 20 who did not get in back in 2020. It's the only time he's ever appeared on any sort of semifinalist ballot list. I think it's, again, good to see him, but I think that Dilweg's probably ahead if we're going to go that far back for the same thing. But who knows? Like last year, their Hall of Fame selections, 2 of them shocked me. The 5 folks who got in.
That's very true.
You just never know how a certain room goes with momentum within the room.
Absolutely. One who I'm also very, very big on personally. Yeah. I'm surprised I'm not surprised that he doesn't get any love outside of Washington, but Joe Jacoby. And the argument has always been, look at those 3 quarterbacks. And Joe Theismann was good for a limited time. Doug Williams was, I know he made history, but he was not a great NFL quarterback. And there was Mark Rippon. And all 3 of them, 3 quarterbacks, 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who collectively will never sniff any list like this at all. And it was all through that offensive line. Yes, there's already 1 in. Do they deserve 2? Yeah.
Jacoby this is one of the people who's problem for Chris Hinton. There's nobody who's pinning Chris Hinton over Joe Jacoby.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
No, not a chance in hell.
Yeah. Jacoby's a 3-time finalist in 16, 17, and 18 when he fell off and became a senior. But
I was shocked it wasn't on 2020.
Yeah, he wasn't on 2020. But that, again, the 2020 list is very, very strange when you look back at it. I think that he's going to definitely make the 12. Would I be shocked if he got in? No, I would not. Again, he's somebody who's going to be in the mix. Like I keep saying, the 9 over the next 3 years. They made a change to the senior pool for those who don't remember, where they're going to be putting in 3 veterans or senior candidates a year for the next 3 years, because they had a plan originally where they'd been they were supposed to only put 1 in a year, which Drew Pearson and Cliff Branch were the last 2 years. They've changed that to 3 the next 3 years. I think Jacoby's definitely a better than 50% shot, in my opinion, to get in one of those 9 spots. So he's in the mix for this year.
All right, so we've got 2 guys who I don't think have a shot in hell, but it's nice to see them here. Billy White Shoes Johnson,
The only guy on two all-decade teams who's not in the Hall at the moment.
Probably why he's here. He might sneak into the 12, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how much credit does he get for being the inventor of the end zone celebration? Pretty much.
Yeah, the very thing that the NFL tries to keep stopping.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean, White Shoes, it's great to see him here. I don't know. Again, would I be shocked if he made the 12? Not really, but I don't think he's getting in. So,
Mike Ken, another, again, we're not trying to disrespect the Atlanta Falcons fans. I love Mike Ken. I thought he was fantastic, but
I would put him in over Hinton, I think, too.
I would too, but there
are too many offensive linemen for either Mike Ken or Chris Hinton.
Yep. So not in the 12.
No, I don't think so. So, I mean, Ken has shown up, though. Let me take a look here.
As a semifinalist, I'm pretty sure.
He was. Oh, hold on. I'm doing a search and I'm putting Ken. It's giving me all the Kennedys. He's been a semifinalist 3 times, 4 times actually, including last year.
Okay.
But he was a semifinalist in. There we go. Close that. He's a semifinalist in 15, 16, and 17. Again, right at the end of his time period. And at that point, while he was a semifinalist, Jacoby was a finalist in 16 and 17. So I think there's clearly a pecking order in which Jacoby comes first.
So we've got Joe Klecko, who's getting a lot of more attention.
One of the people who, and being an AFC East fan, mm-hmm. Jets fans have been clamoring for Klecko for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 Pro Bowls. UPI named him the Defensive Player of the Year in 1981. Never been a finalist, but there's a lot of love towards these early Jets teams, before that era Jets teams.
Yeah, Klecko's been a semifinalist in the seniors the last couple of years. I'm not shocked he makes it 12. I don't think he's in the mix for the 9 guys getting in, though. I think he's just outside.
And here's a guy, 8 finalists, 8 times.
This is the guy.
All right, so Evan, just take this one away because I think you got more.
So Bob Kuechenberg should have been in the Hall of Fame a long freaking time ago. He was a Final 5 selection in 2003 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they hadn't decided that they could vote everybody in, which led to because he was definitely one of the finalists in 2005, which led to the worst Hall of Fame class of my life, I think, for the Football Hall of Fame. And no offense to the people who got in, but the reason the class of 2005 was so bad, which Dan Marino, Steve Young, Benny Friedman, Fritz Pollard, all deserving Hall of Famers, all quarterbacks. 4 quarterback class, right? So Kuechenberg has made the finals and been voted down, which hasn't happened now since 2008. Since 2008, everyone who's made that finals has gotten in. Now, Michael Irvin had that happen to him as well. But Kuech has been a finalist now, like you said, 8 times. He's the guy who I feel has fallen a little bit behind. I don't see the love for him out there.
Apparently, he wasn't exactly the kindest of individuals.
He's not a nice guy. That is true.
Before we go any further, can I propose for your next March Madness for next year?
Sure.
And for I'll just bring this up. Evan had the greatest March Madness ever on his Facebook, which was the Disney villains, and Evan rigged the whole thing.
I didn't mean to, but yeah, I ended up doing so.
We're a number 3 seed, won the whole thing because, hey, genocide.
Yeah, genocide is probably in case you're wondering, that is Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the worst one because he's the only one who actively wanted genocide.
So, that's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we meet Frollo. Bad. Hitler said, "Hey,
we meet Frollo kicking a gypsy woman down the stairs, thinking she stole something, and she falls to her death. What he thought she stole ends up being a a child with a birth defect who he was going to kill and then gets convinced to adopt and basically tortures for his entire upbringing.
And it's for kids.
And that's not the worst thing that he did. Anyway.
But yes, anyway. So here's my thing. I think I'm going to come up with 64 of NFL players from the old days, or even current days, I suppose, just who were still active, who looked like they were over 50.
Oh, okay.
Kuchenberg, man.
Yeah, Kuchenberg was born at the age of 43.
Yeah, Kuchenberg was so old looking that Greg Oden said, sorry. But yeah, Kuchenberg, certainly well deserving. Probably a case of just they didn't like him. They did not like him as a man.
They didn't like him, and the writers at that time thought that they were more important than they were.
That's also true.
And had they been doing their job back then, we've had a whole bunch more people already in. Jacoby, I bet, would already be in. Kuchenberg's probably already in.
But that also explains why there's no big love from the Dolphins fan base. They're not exactly the only time I've ever heard anyone glowingly say this about Bob Kuchenberg is our friend Richmond Webb.
Yeah, true.
And of course he would say that, as he should. I mean, Richmond, although Richmond was a great guy, is a great guy.
Richmond Webb is a fabulous human being.
Yes.
So
look at us throwing our cloud around, huh?
Oh yeah, we are cloud of very few people, but I having just talked to Richmond a couple of times and interacted with him on Twitter, he is just a very, very nice man.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right. Oh no, I almost skipped one. So another offensive tackle, George Kuntz, another good player, but get in line.
Yeah, probably better than Mike Ken in terms of credentials.
Resume.
Yeah, resume certainly. 3-time first-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, offensive lineman of the year in back-to-back years in 76 and 77. Like, that's a pretty good resume. It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge offensive linemen in many ways, but he has all of the things you could want for a offensive lineman, and he plays for the Falcons, guys. So I mean, if you're going to only do one Falcon out of the group, it's got to be Kuntz. Do I think he's going to get there? No. Again, they're too many people.
I don't know. I think it's not going to be that Falcon, but we'll get there.
Oh, all right, we'll get there. Yeah. Did I miss somebody? It's possible I missed somebody.
All right.
Oh no, I definitely missed somebody. I apologize.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. All right. So the next two guys to me, I feel like they're almost. I don't want to say they're the same player because they're not, but their resumes are eerily similar. I'm just going to do them both together. Jim Marshall and Clay Matthews Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Both were never the best. Both were played very, very long. I don't see how Clay Matthews Jr. overtops Jim Marshall, who does have a lot more historical momentum than Clay Matthews. I know the Clay Matthews fan group on Twitter is very, very strong.
Yeah.
But
Jim Marshall still holds the record, which is a ridiculous record.
Mm-hmm.
282 consecutive games played by a defensive player.
And
the next closest defensive lineman is 58 games behind. That's like 5 seasons.
And this is pro football, playing in the defense. This isn't Cal Ripken going 0 for 4.
No. So, yeah. So the Purple People Eaters, I mean, Marshall's got a very good thing. How much do you think him running the wrong way for that touchdown hurts him?
At this point, nothing. Because
the only problem with that is, again, it's probably the most famous single play of his career at this point.
It is, but I mean, is it really brought up all that much? But if they won one Super Bowl, then that changes. Marshall, to me, is ahead of Matthews. But here's my open thing, and I'll say this again. Jennifer Matthews. If they don't call you a few days before, your dad didn't get in. Okay, so don't say, well, maybe today's the day because you look stupid. You should know by now, dumbass. Sorry.
Right. That was some friendly fire right there, my friend.
A little bit. It's just like how do you not didn't know this.
You hope. So, yeah, I would put Marshall ahead of Matthews, but that doesn't mean necessarily the voters will.
Sure.
Both these guys are on the edge of the 12, I would say. I don't think either of them are getting in this group of 9 over the next 3 years.
Here's a nice one from the Rams. First time he's really getting some love, I think. Eddie Metter.
Yeah, I've actually never had no idea how to pronounce his last name, so I'm glad that
I'm just going with that.
Okay, so he was a semifinalist last year. It's the first time he ever appeared as a semifinalist as a senior candidate. Yeah, I was wondering if it's Eddie Metter like Eddie Vedder or is Eddie Meter. So anyone who actually knows, get in the comments and let us know how to pronounce it.
And Eddie Mecca was the big ragu on Laverne and Shirley.
There you go.
Show what I know.
2-time first team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, member of the NFL's All-Decade Team of the 60s, 46 career interceptions, which is still the record for the Rams. Cornerback who spent his entire career with one team.
Some good teams there too.
With some good teams. The fact he was in there last year makes it seem like he's a little bit higher up than I probably have him. But I don't expect him to be one of the 9. Again, would I be shocked though? No. Again, he's those all-decade teams, when you get to the final group, will end up making a difference more than we'd like them to.
All right, I want your take on this, as you knew I would.
The Steamer.
Stanley Morgan. I like him, obviously not as much as you do, but for me it was like,
Yeah. So Stanley Morgan was the best player in the Patriots when I was growing up on offense anyway.
Same much.
How dare you slander Mosi Tapupu that way? Tatupu. I said Tapupu, Tatupu. I even said his name wrong. I slandered him more than anybody.
I love how I love how I could see the wheels turning. Which player am I going to go to?
I was trying to figure out who it'd be.
You had the joke ready. It was just sort of the punchline.
Yeah. So the thing that Stanley Morgan was, again, has been one of the people in the discussion. He showed up on this thing for the first time last year. And I think everybody was surprised to see him there. The thing he has going for him, it's almost like the argument for Julian Edelman when he gets there. He just has like a weird thing that puts him different from everyone else. Edelman is the second all-time leading receiver in postseason history, only behind Jerry Rice. There's a lot behind Jerry Rice, but he's a lot ahead of third place too, which is going to be his argument. Stanley Morgan has the most yards per reception of any player who has at least 500 receptions. So any player who's caught at least 500 balls in NFL, his average yards per reception is 19.2, which is a huge number. Still the Patriots all-time leading receiver in yards. I think he was the first, I'm trying to remember this. I think he was the first person Patriots fans voted into the Patriots Hall of Fame when they changed the rules. Pretty sure Stanley Morgan was the first one. I love Stanley Morgan. The fact he played this last season with the Colts was kind of dumb. I just wish he'd stuck around. But I have trouble seeing him like one of the guys who I loved last year. Oh my God, I just forgot his name from the Rams. Wide receiver from the Rams, finished third time in all time in what? No. Finished third all time in receptions. When he retired.
Right? Henry Ellard.
Henry Ellard. Thank you. I don't know why Henry Ellard's name was on my head.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Henry Ellard and Stanley Morgan are contemporaries. Henry Ellard is way ahead of Stanley Morgan, in my opinion, getting into the Hall. It's great to see him here. I kind of feel like I would if Bruschi was on this list, like a guy who's an absolutely franchise legend, but I never expect to get in the Hall of Fame. So I know I'm not making the argument for Stanley Morgan here, but I just don't think he's getting in off of this list.
So another finalist from 2020. I guess the top Falcon.
Yeah, this is the top Falcon. I just forgot him when I was going through earlier.
So you got that 2020 momentum.
Falcons, did you say his name and I missed it?
Oh, I didn't. Tommy Novus.
Okay, there we
go. I just glossed over that. Sorry about that. So yeah, Tommy Novus. I mean, the Falcons fans, well, Atlanta fans in general, guys, Atlanta. I mean, like you got all these great sports, and you're so quiet. I
Yeah.
don't get it, but
I mean, there are 4 Falcons on this list. You got to figure that one of them
Yeah.
is getting in.
no,
One of them's getting into the top 12, and it's most likely Novus.
I think so. And if we want to talk about momentum, Ken Riley.
Yeah. Well, sorry, just so before we get to Riley, just a little bit more on
Yeah,
Novus.
please.
Another member of this all-decade team in the 60s.
Mhm.
First team All-Pro once, a Rookie of the Year, which is impressive to do at his position of linebacker. But again, I think Tommy Novus is definitely one of the 12. And I think I would not be shocked at all if he's won the 9 over the next 3 years. So anyway, Ken Riley, again, someone else I'm not going to be shocked is in over the next 3 years as well.
But never been a finalist, but he never got respect when he played either.
No, 100% he did. He got first team All-Pro in his last season.
Yeah. And he had a lot of all-pro worthy seasons, hardly any Pro Bowls. Yeah, Cincinnati wasn't that good, but they only, I mean, so it was him and Lamar Parrish was there too. But man,
here's Riley's argument more than anything.
Mhm.
The most interceptions for people not in the Hall is Ken Riley with 65.
most interceptions by anyone not even being a finalist is
Ken
Ken
Riley
Riley.
with 65.
Yeah.
He has more interceptions than Champ Bailey. He's got more than Ed Reed. He has more than Ty Law. He has more than, like, think of all the additional throwing that's happened since Ken Riley played.
Mhm.
Now, quarterbacks got more accurate, I grant it, but they also throw the ball 50, 60 times a game. Whereas in Riley's era, they were not doing that.
Yes.
So I'm too young to have watched Riley play live. Like my first sports memory, as I've said, is the Bears pummeling my Patriots in the Super Bowl. But just solely based off of the era and what he is, the fact it's hurting him that he wasn't noticed during his career, but he has to be one of these 9 people getting in over the next 3 years. One of the Kens from Cincinnati needs to get in this year, whether it's Riley or Anderson. One of them needs to get in.
Yeah, I'm bigger on Anderson. I think they're
I'm bigger on Riley.
Happier for Riley.
Yeah, I'm bigger on Riley than Anderson, but I think they're both worthy. I just think Riley's resume is better than.
Okay,
Anderson.
then we got Sterling Sharp, who pretty much, if it was, he's an injury away from already being in.
Yeah, 100%. So I would put Sterling Sharp over Stanley Morgan as well.
I would too.
I mean, Sterling Sharp he only played 7 years.
He's Terrell Davis.
Yeah. Wait, Darrell Revis?
No, Terrell Davis.
Oh, Terrell Davis. I think it's Darrell Revis. Sorry. Yeah, Terrell Davis. Similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Sharp's going to be one of the 9, but I have him as the top wideout on this list. Oh, even over the next guy, Otis Taylor, as well.
I'm also very big on Otis Taylor, Super Bowl champion, AFL champion, another stud wide receiver who's never been a finalist.
Yeah, and an AFL guy. They remembered the AFL guys exist.
I think back when they did 2020, my biggest shock, not because I didn't want him in, I did, was Winston Hill.
Yeah, right.
You know, because that's
but am I incorrect? Did Klecko? Hold on. No, is he the only AFL guy on this whole list, Otis Taylor?
I believe so.
Because Ken Riley played for the Bengals in '69, but at that point, I think they're already
count. They pretty much, there was already an amalgamated league by that point.
All right, so I wanted to see if I was wrong, but I think Otis Taylor is literally the only one from the AFL here, which may actually help his candidacy more than you would think.
Here's someone who I think will slip into the top 12, although I don't know that he should. I like the guy too, Everson Walls.
Yeah, he's been a finalist before. So Everson Walls was a finalist in 2018, his last year eligible. It was one of those ones that's so surprising to see him there. He and Joe Jacoby, the only 2 people left from the class 20 or the finalists 2018 who aren't in yet. I don't think Walls is getting in. I think there are other better players than him who are on this list. I would again put Ken Riley up over him.
But there's a contingent that clearly wants that is big on him. because he's thrown there quite a bit in the previous incarnation in the modern era. So, and it's not, again, it's not that I always thought maybe he was overstepping a couple other players, but again, another great player.
Right, but he led the NFL in interceptions 3 times, made 3 first-team All-Pros, 4 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl with the Giants in Super Bowl 25.
Yeah.
Like the stuff is there. Again, I'd put Ken Riley over him. If Ken Riley gets in, though, it's wide open for Walls. Put it that way.
I agree. Now, here's where it gets sort of interesting. So we have 29 coach/contributors in my final.
Which means that means we had at least a 5-way tie for the 25th spot.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah. So only one of these guys is getting in, though.
Only one. There will be, I think, at 12. A lot of these people, I just don't have a shot.
There's one who I think has to be the nominee out of this group. But go ahead.
Okay. So we'll gloss over this quick because I think most people are more interested in the players. I know that I am. So we've got. So just say yay or nay to if you think they have a shot at the 12. Bud Adams, pretty much the guy who is responsible for the Titans/Oilers.
Yay, I think he's going to get the 12, and I think he's got about a 10% chance of being nominated.
Okay. Someone who I'm actually pretty big on, but I don't think it's a shot, Rune Arledge.
Yeah, it's very good to see Rune here. I think he's very important. I don't think he makes the top. Well, he might make the top 12. He's not getting to be the nominee, though.
Someone, and I apologize, I'm not familiar with his work. Cio Bricado, former scout, 40 years, Oilers franchise.
Great to see his name. I don't think there's a chance in heck.
What I'm huge on, who should have been in a long time ago, Don Coryell.
Yeah, Coryell's going to be one of the 12. I don't think he gets in, though, this year.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few other people here. I think he's in my top 5 for chances getting in, but I have him at the lower part of the top 5.
Mm-hmm. And another person, again, apologies, I'm not familiar with his work. Athletic trainer Otto Davis.
Yeah, I can't imagine an athletic trainer getting in before some of these other folks.
Namely, the guy next, the guy who pretty much invented the National Football League, Ralph Hay.
This is the guy who needs to get in. They have the Ralph Hay Award that they hand out every year, and he's not in. No offense to everybody else on this list, but the guy who invented the league has to be in the Hall of Fame for the league.
This was his vision. And yeah, he bowed out in like 1922, but also still won a title, I think.
Yeah, with the Canton Bulldogs.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what more you want. But he was a 2020 guy. So, and we have a better shot because, it's not like David Baker's still there knocking the court.
Well, so next one's an interesting one.
Mike Holmgren.
So Holmgren's another one of my top 5. If David Baker were still knocking on doors, Holmgren's your nominee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he gets up and over. I think he's going to pass Coryell.
I did too.
He's got the Super Bowl, which Coryell doesn't. He also has a general manager experience and brought a moribund Seahawks team to the Super Bowl. That still has the single worst call in the history of the NFL in it, where Hasselbeck threw an interception, made the tackle, and it was called for clipping, which is you can't clip somebody when you tackle them. I think Holmgren is one of our top 5.
Someone who I'm also very big on because, man, if you could combine resumes, Bucko Kilroy, great player, standing executive.
Scout, player personnel, general manager, like team vice president, again, a Patriot for the last part of that, but he was in Eagles, Redskins, Cowboys, Patriots. Somebody who definitely deserves more love than he gets. It's good to see him here. I think he's further on the outside than some of these other folks, but
he'll be in the 12.
I think he'll be in the 12. Yes.
Yeah. Part of the 2020 returnees. And another one, I'm sorry. I'd like to think that there was not going to be somebody I hadn't heard, wasn't aware of, but there's been a few. Eddie Kotal, again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Scout of the Rams from 47 to 61, and apparently one of the first to really go look at the HBCUs. So
Yeah, I think that Bill Nunn getting in kind of keeps the scouts for a
huge.
while.
Huge.
So I mean, it got Eddie Kotal or Kotal's name on the list here, but I think we're not going to get a scout for a little bit, particularly with only one spot since Bill Nunn just got in.
Well, yeah, and it's again nothing against these guys. They are
100%.
phenomenal candidates, but there's a definite hierarchy. And speaking of someone who was on the high up,
speaking of definite hierarchies, Bob Kraft.
Yes. I mean, and I'm not a Patriots fan. Evan obviously is, as our returnees know. But hey, Patriot haters, tell me why Robert Kraft doesn't belong without saying rub and tug. You can't.
No, I mean, he's one of the most influential people in the league, and he's the one he and Jerry Jones, two people they sent to negotiate contracts with the networks. Like, he is that important to the league.
Should be the next owner in my opinion, unless we want to count Ralph Hay.
Right. I mean, Hay is a whole separate category, but like we have, let me just skip for a second. We have Adams, Kraft, and Modell here, who are really the three leading, more modern owners. I would be shocked if Modell gets in first, but I wouldn't be that shocked if Adams gets in before Kraft.
I wouldn't either. I just do think that Kraft's overall body of work dwarfs the other two, which says a hell of a lot.
And just by the way, I've said it before, if Modell ever gets in, the entire city of Cleveland is marching on Canton.
Imagine, Modell becomes like a finalist and Clay doesn't.
Oh, that'd be ridiculous.
I'm laughing with you. Not really.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So
the non-brothers McKay.
McVay.
Oh, sorry, McKay. I apologize. Continue. Rich McKay.
Rich McKay, a GM of pretty much helped build that Tampa Bay team. Brought Atlanta back to relevance. Still the president CEO, so like that's the other Falcon.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't see that one just because.
No, they're just. It's good to see McKay here, but they're more people ahead.
Yeah, and John McVay is a very worthy candidate for the architect of the Niners dynasties.
Yeah, again, someone else who definitely needs to be in the discussion. I don't see him getting one of the three spots over the next few years. So
there's another owner who time forgot, which is shocking considering where it was. Dallas, Clint Murchison.
Yeah, he's completely forgotten. He's overshadowed by the rest of these owners, which is crazy. But if they go owner, Murchison is fourth on the list. So, but again, he founded the Cowboys, won multiple championships under his leadership, didn't fire Tom Landry when Landry started his first 3 seasons losing seasons. So very, very influential league, but I don't see it out of this group.
Someone who was also from the 2020 group, Buddy Parker.
Yeah.
Excellent coach.
Buddy Parker's probably should be the next coach in.
Yeah, head coach of it's hard to say this with a straight face. Some phenomenal Lions teams that Evan and I'm old as shit, have never. Like, God, that was a generation before I was even born.
Yeah.
How long ago Detroit was any good?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the fact he was a winning head coach of a Lions team, it should be enough to get him in, right?
Yeah. Carl Peterson, I think just someone they threw on the wall. Kansas, big executive for the Chiefs, but
he's not gonna get there.
Not when they ever won anything. Another 2020 possible. I don't think he's gonna get into this group with only one. Dan Reeves, but
yeah, Reeves is something. Yeah, I don't. I think this is a tough group for Dan Reeves to get through. I mean, he just passed away earlier this year. Again, though, Parker, Coryell are definitely ahead of him. Holmgren's ahead of him. Yeah. And there's one more coming up, maybe 2 more coming up who I think are ahead of him as well. So,
and apologies, Green Bay. I'm not that familiar with this gentleman, Lou Rommel.
Lee Remmel.
Lee Remmel, sorry. I put in a new contact. It's kind of foggy here. So Packers former good writer in his own right, from what I understand, but director of public relations for 40 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Like, that's great for your Packers Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I can't imagine a director of public relations ever getting in.
Not that maybe he shouldn't. It's just there's so many.
Just look at the other names on this list, though.
Yeah. Art Rooney Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want a family to own your team, it's got to be the Rooneys, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I can't even make anything snark about that as a Patriots fan. Like 100%, you don't have the Rooneys owning your team.
Right. But again, just too many names here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's possible just because of Rooney, but again, I think
it's 12.
A lot of people. So this is an interesting candidate. Also passed away recently. 200 career wins in the NFL, but never won a title.
Which makes it, I don't want to say next to impossible, but in this group, it's impossible.
Yeah. I just think Schottenheimer's he's just been kind of passed over with all the rest of these folks.
I hate to say it. He's almost lucky to get here. Close. He's on that cusp.
I mean, there's like, how many? I think there are only 7 coaches in the history of the league with 200 wins.
There are, but if you don't win the big one, I mean, it's that or a quarterback. I mean, like we're going to see a first ballot inductee in Joe Thomas, who I don't know that he even played on a winning team. I think he must have. But when Joe Thomas gets in, he will not only be the first, I didn't even look to see if this is true, but it's got to be. Joe Thomas will have the lowest winning record of any NFL, of any player in the Hall. And he'll likely have done that entering in ballot 1. You can do that as a lineman. You can do that in almost any position. You can't do it as a coach, and you can't do it as a QB. You can't.
Probably true.
Our good friend Vinny Loss-Panusa must love this one. A line judge, head linesman, referee, but also director of officiating for 25 years. Jerry Seaman.
Well, we got the previous director of officiating in, so why not the new one? I guess he was.
I mean, it's if you're gonna have, if any sport should have more officials in, it's this sport.
Correct.
But again, they just don't take care of this. I don't want to go on a Vinny rant. Vinny, I know you're watching, but
Vinny will go on the Vinny rant tomorrow.
That's right. You got this.
Let's not steal his thunder.
Yeah. Mike Shanahan.
That's an interesting coach possibility too. So here's, out of Reeves, Schottenheimer, and Shanahan, who would you go with?
Schottenheimer's last.
Okay.
I'm bigger on Reeves than Shanahan personally.
Interesting. Okay.
But I could flip those two easy. But even then, I'm not. If there was like 5 getting in, I could advocate for one of them, but there's not.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually bigger on the next coach.
Clark Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy, yeah. It's not so much for what he did as a head coach, but imagine what that, because he was mostly an assistant coach, but and a lot of the other work that he did, how do I put this? He sort of like proved value to things that a lot of people didn't think of when you're looking at like expanded staffs. And this is actually one that Vinny, if you're listening, which I know you are, hey, do this one. This would be great because Vinny does a show with me called Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for, where it's always someone kind of interesting. I really like your take on this. I know you're big on him, but they're not going to put an assistant coach in, predominantly assistant coach in before any other coach. They're just not.
Clark Shaughnessy was Dr. Z, the late Paul Zimmerman from Sports Illustrated, was like Dr. Z's pet project. He loved Clark Shaughnessy, which is the first reason I even heard of him. Well before I cared, well before I even found your website. So he's been at least discussed in the room before. We know that much, but it seems like it's too far down for him to get through.
It does. Someone I'm actually big on because I'm a stat geek, Seymour Seeloff, owner, president, Elias Sports Bureau, was a finalist. Stat guys, you know that this guy belongs in a lot more recognition than he is. But again,
not with one spot. But no, Seymour Seeloff at some point should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And another person who I could advocate down the road, Amy Trask. Amy, and for a lot of people, well, it's a whole diversity thing. Okay, so maybe it is. But what was the pressure on her?
And she was also really good at her job.
Exactly, because if she failed,
Yeah.
like what would that bode for other female executives? And I don't know if that's your good this week.
It's it's up there.
Okay,
So
I kind of thought it might be. So I won't go any further into that, but I mean, it's not like Evan and I are acting like we're captain too progressive. We just think if there's an opportunity, do it.
Put it this way: if there's one woman in the history of the league who deserves a Hall of Fame as it currently stands, it is Amy Trask. Is there anyone you could put ahead of her?
No.
You're not gonna come up with something snarky like Morgana the Kissing Bandit?
For base, I think I watched the whole YouTube thing on her. But it was like I remembered from.
No, but I'm just saying I can't think of anyone else. I mean, there have been a few. Georgia Frontier, I know, as part of it, but like if there is a woman, I guess
that was the only name I could think of, and I was blanking on her last name. So, but no, I can't.
What's her name in here in Chicago at the Bears with McCaskey, George McCaskey?
Well, maybe in 30 years, someone might say that about Kim Pegula.
That's possible. Kim Pegula's not there yet, but that is possible.
Well, I mean, not, and she's not realistically, she's not even close. But hey, one day,
who knows?
I don't know. Jim Tunney, another official. There's no point going any further because there's no. He's not even the top.
Very, very good official though.
But he's not even the top one.
Yeah, true. Jerry Siemens ahead of him. So
yeah. Jack Vinisi, another scout. Again, you're a scout.
Mm-hmm.
Massively important. You're not going to be in the 12. You're not going to be chosen. It's just not happening. And final with another scout, Lloyd Wells. Very important too, because he was the first full-time African-American scout. But again,
they're not putting in another scout for a while. They're just not putting another scout in for a while.
No, I mean, and that sort of shows like how far behind the Pro Football Hall is when it comes to if they would have started so much earlier. But anyway, they didn't. So, anyways, congratulations to all of the people.
Oh, you missed one though.
What did I miss?
John Wooten.
Oh, did I?
Yep, director of pro scouting for the Cowboys from 75 to 90.
Okay.
Again, somebody very, very important in the history of the league, but there are just too many other people.
They're exactly. And if maybe in 5-10 years, they're going to look at looking at other things to recognize other contributors. It's a step, but I just look at the talent that will not even sniff that 12.
I know. And only one of those is getting in. I mean,
I'm just saying the talent that won't even make the 12.
Oh, I know. But I mean, even out of all that, like, just say one of those guys did make the 12. Are they getting in over Bob Kraft or Holmgren or Coryell or Parker or fill in your whoever you want there? I don't think so.
I mean, save for the officials, I get, let's say, 9 out of 12 of the. No, it's more than that. All the non-officials who were not chosen that 12, and you give them to me in 1970, I'm building a dynasty. With that brain trust.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but that's not how that goes. We are kind of limited in time a little bit, so I'm just going to speed past a couple things. There is no smorgasbord of shit other than I'm going to just blow your mind for a second. I actually 100% agree with Justin Trudeau on an issue. I won't say what it is, but I'm just going to say, yeah, I agree with him. Which means, see, not everyone is completely horrible or completely good. Just something to think about here. Just
understood.
Yeah, that's all. I was going to go a lot deeper than that, and then I forgot we got the big thing today. So
yeah,
I dodged that, and I'm also just going to do my elevator up super quick.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, my elevator up, and for those who are new to this, I always come up with, if warranted, an elevator up or an elevator down, people who I think have made a good, strong case for respective halls of fame. I had 3 in mind. I'm just going to say one. And there's no chance for this either, but it's for our Hall of Fame, the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. And I don't know that this is a sport, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Joey Chestnut won his 15th hot dog eating contest while putting someone in a headlock.
Continue.
That's it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I've been worried about Joey Chestnut in our hall because at some point he's going to come up. I don't know if this is a sport. I think it's
either.
actually the fact that we have eating competitions in the world that we have today is
Gross and strange that it's always won by people who aren't fat. I don't get it.
And to be fair, though, for the first time, he did choke somebody out while winning the hot dog competition.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
yeah. So showing there's at least a two-sport athlete. But I seriously, no, you're right. Joey Chestnut is, if there is ever going to be in the United States Athletics Hall of Fame a competitive eater, it is Joey Chestnut.
That's a moment. That's something.
Ugh.
I don't know what, but it's still something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just seeing how old he is.
I thought it was.
Oh, he's younger than me.
I know, 37. I looked that up because I wanted to. So I looked at him.
38, actually.
Yeah, I was looking at him and I thought, oh, maybe he's eligible now. He's not.
He's the 15-time national hot dog eating contest champion.
How do you get into that? Dad, I think what I really want to do is eat hot dogs for a living.
He also though has like records I've seen for like eating hard-boiled eggs. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
We might as well. I mean, if that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway. And the winner is also a repeat finalist. This little Asian thing. Miko Suda, I believe is her name. And her husband, of course, competed against Joey Chestnut.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, whatever. I just thought it was very interesting. So yeah, that was my elevator up, just for the sake of having one. I had two others in mind. I'll just sort of like let them sort of pass so that we can get on to somber moments where Evan tells us who we lost. We lost a pretty big one this morning, which I guess is your hammer.
Actually not. We've lost a second one too. So
maybe we're talking about someone I'm not aware of, but yeah, go on.
It could be. So we're going to start actually with, did you ever watch Band of Brothers?
No, but I read the art, so I know who you're talking about.
So the very last surviving member of Easy Company, the 101st Airborne Division, actual person, Bradford Freeman, passed away at the age of 97. So last surviving member of Easy Company is now passed away. So there you go. He won the Mark Milley gave him the challenge coin for Columbus Air Force Base to service the country for being a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been back and forth. He was a mail carrier for 32 years after leaving the military. So from the world of auto racing, we lost English television presenter and 24 Hours of Le Mans driver I think it's Alain de Cadenet.
Mm-hmm.
Alain de Cadenet. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he passed away at the age of 71. No, take that back. What am I saying? 76. So he finished. He raced in 15 editions of 24 Hours Le Mans. Finished third place in 76. But a long time racing commentator in England.
Mm-hmm.
From the world of golf, we lost a couple people this week. Mac McClendon won 6 times overall, 4 times PGA Tour. Passed away at the age of 76. But a bigger name, Dale Douglas passed away. One of the few people who got significantly better after joining the senior tour. Dale Douglas and spent 25 years on the PGA Tour, won 3 times and earned $573,000 in his career over 25 years. When he joined the senior PGA, he had 11 wins, including the U.S. Senior Open in '86, and had $7 million worth of earnings on the senior. So he basically 13 times his winnings over 25 years while on the senior tour.
And yeah, the money was inflated then too, like as time progressed, but still, like that just doesn't happen because you get paid less to win the seniors.
100%. So yeah, he beat Gary Player by 1 stroke for the '86 senior tour or U.S. Open. So, but anyway, so yeah, he passed away at the age of 86. In the worlds of sports commentators, one of my favorites, Hammer and Hank Goldberg, passed away at the age of 82 from ESPN. Did handicapping and for horse racing and NFL games for ESPN back before, he was kind of, well, I mean, Jimmy the Greek's the first one, but he was kind of ESPN's first real handicapper on things. He retired. When did he leave ESPN? I can't see where he went. I can't figure out when he left ESPN. It wasn't a lot. He was with them for 17 years. He also worked for the Dolphins for 14. But he passed away at the age of 82. He actually, last time, he had kidney failure caused by diabetes and had his right leg amputated below the knee in October of last year. He died on the 4th of July on his 82nd birthday. His last appearance for ESPN was a phone interview from the Kentucky Derby in May. So he has published, his last picks were published for the Belmont Stakes earlier, or I guess last month. So from the world of music, we lost a couple of folks. We lost Alan Blakely, the English songwriter composer, best known for writing "Have I the Right" and, of course, the classic "The Legend of Xanadu." One of those weird, trippy.
Xanadu. What's that?
Yeah, that's a weird, trippy, psycho. Like
not the Olivia Newton-John thing, is it?
No.
Okay.
It's like a prog rock weird thing.
Okay.
From the 70s, but he passed away at the age of 82. Also wrote the theme song for the BBC series Agatha Christie's Miss Marple, which I am a huge Agatha Christie nerd. I actually have, over to my right here, I'm not showing you my room, but I just picked them up at a yard sale. Her entire collection of every book Agatha Christie ever wrote in hardcover.
At a yard sale. Tell me you live in a suburb without telling me you live in a suburb.
It was my neighbor right around the corner. She was selling like 80. It was 87 books for $50. So that was a deal. Bigger, I guess. We lost also Manny Charlton, the original guitarist and founding member of Nazareth. Passed away at the age of 80. Also worked with Guns N' Roses on Appetite for Destruction. So, but yeah, he passed away at the age of 80 earlier this week. We also lost from the world of hockey, shockingly, Brian Marchment passed away.
Yeah. Only 53. I didn't catch what he passed away of. Or
they haven't announced it yet. He was in with the Sharks management for the entry draft. And I don't know exactly what happened, but he was one of the hardest hitters in the NHL. Maybe a little dirty of a hitter. But he played for the Jets, Blackhawks, Whalers, Oilers, Lightning, Sharks, Avalanche, Maple Leafs, and Flames.
Good career.
Good
long career.
17 years in league, 16th overall pick by the Jets in 87. But he was suspended 13 times in his 12 seasons and was blamed for injuries to, here's a list. There's a list here. Mike Modano, Joe Nieuwendyk, Greg Adams, Mike Gartner, Kevin Dineen, Peter Zezel, Pavel Bure, Semi Salo, Marcus Arvidsson, Paul Kariya, Wendell Clark, and Martin Rucinski.
I counted 6 Hall of Famers in that list.
Modano, Nieuwendyk, Gartner, Dineen, Bure.
Is he?
No, Dineen's not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Pavel.
But Dure, Kariya. Is Wendell Clark in?
No.
All right, so 5. But yeah, still.
Okay.
Yeah, 53 is too young to go. So
definitely.
I'm gonna give you the other one first. We'll end with the one you were thinking about. But one of the greatest international basketball coaches of all time passed away. His death was announced today. Pedro Ferrandiz passed away.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
that. At the age of 93. 4-time EuroLeague champion, 12-time Spanish League champion, 11-time Spanish Cup winner. Member of the 50 greatest EuroLeague contributors, FIBA Order of Merit, FIBA Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame, all as a coach. Like, probably the greatest European coach in history.
If they ever expanded the Europe League to Vegas, could they call it FIBA Las Vegas? Right.
I can only hope. That's one of your best ones, my friend.
Yeah.
That is one of your best off the cuff jokes, because you clearly didn't know he passed away. So
no, because every time I plan something, usually I just goes into shit. Like,
yeah. So he was the International Olympic Committee also awarded him the Olympic Order in 1977. I don't know if being honored by the Olympic Committee is a good thing or a bad thing, but whatever.
I think it can be a good thing depending on who you are. It's just not just necessarily you don't want to be in the room with those guys with your wallet not in your safe.
You don't want to be in the room where it happens. Sorry.
And I guess our big one, which is still relevant to what we do.
Jimmy Kahn.
I love James Kahn. I guess relevant for our hall.
Brian's song.
Well, no, because that was a real person.
That is a real person. That's true.
Yeah. If I ever sort of come up with the wing of like portrayals of people, although like that would sort of be up there, but no, Rollerball.
Oh God, I forgot about Rollerball.
Everyone seems to, because he never gets even close to getting into like even the semifinals, which will be announced in a few weeks. But James Kahn in the 70s, just man.
Yeah, God, I mean, Sonny Corleone, Brian's song, of course, which is still, I think, the most successful TV film of all time.
It have to be up there. Rollerball, which was a pretty big deal back then. I don't know why it doesn't sort of like stay in a consciousness.
Yeah,
much as it should.
But a Bridge Too Far, Misery, of course. Yeah. One of the most iconic. It's got to be the most iconic broken bone in the history of the cinema.
And as soon as you said that, Misery, it's like I no word of a lie. I almost like felt a pain in my ankle.
Yeah. And I found out later they did that. They just created a fake foot out of like a sandbag, basically to make it do what it did when Kathy Bates hits. Spoiler alert, guys, from a movie from 1990. But Kathy Bates, Paul Sheldon, who is played by, I love this movie, just by the way, played by James Caan, is in an accident and gets taken in by Kathy Bates' character, who Annie, I can't think of Annie's last name. Annie Wilkes, thank you. Who's nursing him back to health, and then he tries to leave, and she breaks his ankle with a sledgehammer, so he can't leave.
Yeah, she's an obsessed fan of his writing.
Yeah, and just the sledgehammer hitting the foot is enough to make every single person cringe. I didn't know that he died. Because Kathy Bates was trending. Oh,
and for whatever reason, because Twitter's weird.
Twitter is very strange.
Yeah, I mean. So that I already saw that trending.
Chris Benoit was trending yesterday.
I saw that, because some random female wrestler who no one's ever seen on national television pretty much said he was a piece of shit. Okay, and
we agree. Everybody agrees.
Yeah, he was a great wrestler. He's also a piece of shit. I haven't been able to watch a match of his since. I can't do it.
Understood.
But whatever. I mean, things trend are so stupid.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, so and then every time like Fang always comes up. Just the two of you, just fuck already.
Fair enough. But let's go back to Jimmy Kahn. He passed away at the age of 82. We're still doing a lot of stuff at TV. Josh Duhamel was basically in tears with all he did with him in the Vegas.
Yeah.
So. Just a great, great actor, made everything he was in better.
Even when he was in something that was shit, it was still James Caan.
Yeah, 100%. And there are times I remember Eraser, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You have been erased. I was like, this movie is so dumb, but then James Caan popped up as an FBI agent. I'm like, hey, it's James Caan. I was very excited. So, but yeah. 82 years old. So
even on That's My Boy with Sandler.
Oh God, that's true. Yeah. So Sandler was trending today too on Twitter because he joined a random pickup basketball game. He was like just walking around, so I pick a basketball game and just join in with the random folks in Portland or someplace weird.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people just think like, God, this guy is such a goof, but Next time you ever see an Adam Sandler's an asshole story, it'll be the first. Also.
True. Yeah. One of the greatest products in New Hampshire. So
always recommend t-shirts and movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we just go to my good, bad, and ugly?
Yeah, and again, for those who are new, Evan tells us the good, the bad, and the ugly of the week of sports. I don't ask him anymore because usually I like to be surprised. We just make sure I tell him what I'm going to do, and usually we try to make sure that we're not overlapping. But I knew what your good was going to be. I knew it, and run with it, please.
The Raiders continue to be one of the most progressive teams in the history of the NFL. They've always been in the forefront of hiring back coaches, getting more voices involved. They have what? Including Amy Trask, right? Mm-hmm. Art Shell was another very important one. They hired Sandra Douglas Morgan, who is the first African-American woman to serve as an NFL team's president. Mm-hmm. So she used to be the executive director of Nevada Gaming Control Board, which is interesting. But just the idea that they're like,
interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're in Vegas. You get someone from the Gaming Control Board. It's just an interesting thing, right? So third woman, third African-American to become president of an NFL team, first to be both female and African-American. Mm-hmm. But I love the fact that they have, like, also, again, Tom Flores. I need to put Tom Flores in there for groundbreaking hires as well.
Yep. Well, so Al Davis, just win, baby. I don't care what you look like.
100%. Al Davis and Red Auerbach are very similar people in that way. Red Auerbach literally did not care. And I know Boston has a reputation for being a racist city, and there's, just like many cities, it's got a bad history, right? But he put out 5 black players on the court together for the first time. He named the first African-American coach to succeed him when he left.
And all he was thinking about those W's. And
he didn't care.
Not a bad thing. I mean,
didn't care. Same thing with Al Davis. It didn't always work out for Davis. To be fair, the NFL in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s was much more competitive than the NBA in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. But no, it's good to see more and more organizations. I'm not surprised the Raiders are at the forefront of this, are looking outside of their own borders in terms of, like, hey, this isn't someone who's worked for us before, but she's been very successful and it may translate to us, as opposed to just keep the old boys network. And I think the league is better off having more. No, I'm saying, when I say diverse voices, I don't mean necessarily gender and race. I mean not just an echo chamber.
Well, it's also unique perspectives.
And that's a better way of saying it.
You know, because you can find that in a group of 10 white people, depending on where they all come from.
That's also true.
On the classes, you know, it's never bad to hear a different voice. From what I read about her, it's like, why not her? This is the team to do it. So no, I'm happy about that. But there are some others in the league or in the sports. Oh, maybe you know. Okay. Do you want to
go ahead? I'll let you do it.
Okay. Mike Greer is the new general manager of the San Jose Sharks. I did not know that he was Brian Greer's brother of the GM of Dolphins.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I didn't know that until now. Because I remember watching Mike Greer for years. He was a pretty good player.
He was a very good player.
Yeah. And again, this is not necessarily a diversity hire so much. Look at his resume. You know, longtime scout, assistant coach. I mean, he worked his way through the ranks for this opportunity. This isn't progressive California. This is San Jose, who had probably some good candidates and picked the one that they thought was best. Greer
when they made their pick tonight, they had a tribute to Marchment, who not only was on this group with the Sharks, he's the Sharks general manager, but was also a teammate of his.
Yeah, don't tell me anything. I recorded it to watch it later because there's nothing more than I like than watching teenagers in suits stand awkwardly.
I'm glad I didn't bring something up. I'm just going to say, I'll say this.
Did Montreal pick somebody who said, don't pick me?
I'm just going to say this.
Okay.
The 4th pick is the one you care about.
Okay.
Just the reaction of the player who's picked 4th. And I don't want to get this. I was actually about to mention it, so I'm glad that you told me not to say anything.
Oh, you can if that's part of your good bad.
No. But
Okay.
so my undercover good here is I love bad blood, and there's definitely bad blood that comes out the fourth pick in this draft, like seething anger of the person who's picked fourth.
Jesus. Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah,
All right.
it's if you haven't seen it, just watch the reaction when he gets up on stage. So
I wonder if it would be sort of not like when Eric Lindros was drafted by the Nordiques. Huh?
no, it wasn't like that. So
all right. So that it's an excellent good. Also, too, Haley Wickenheiser was promoted for the Maple Leafs as an assistant GM. Her resume, truthfully, isn't nearly what Mike Greer's is as an executive. But and I don't know how many AGMs the Leafs have, but it's also Haley fucking Wickenheiser.
Yeah, she's the greatest hockey player, female hockey player in the history of the world.
She is, and it's. I had no reason to think that she wouldn't know talent when she sees it, man or female.
I mean, Gretzky was been in a capacity like that before, and I can't say that he's got to be any better than she is.
That's very true.
I mean, we've just seen lots of players. Michael Jordan.
Oh, speaking of, yeah, because it doesn't always translate. Gretzky is a hard. Gretzky might be the greatest offensive player. I had to put that caveat: offensive player of all time.
True.
But
Bobby Orr's the greatest defensive player of all time.
I think Bobby was the greatest player of all time.
I know. I just wanted to hear you say it
again. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. There you go. But Gretzky was he can't translate. It was interesting to see Joe Sakic win I saw. I didn't see anything else in the draft because I saw that he won the General Manager of the Year award. Oh, and Pierre LeBrun. Oh, it's so stupid that they don't decide the regular season. Fuck you, dipshit. Anyway, that's all I got. And I actually don't mind the guy. I know a lot of people hate him, but no, Joe Sakic. I mean, if hockey ever did. It'd be interesting if they ever sort of like said you could go in the Hall twice. I don't think they should, but Sakic is making that case. But anyway, what's her bad?
Brittany Griner.
Okay.
She pled guilty today.
She did.
To the drug charges, saying that she didn't intentionally bring. She's accused of bringing.
All right.
She's accused of bringing. What do you call them?
I'm not a drug guy, so I mean, I don't know. What
do you call the things?
A vape pen or something.
Yeah, like a vape pen stuff.
Yeah,
that had hashish essentially in them into Russia. Now she pled guilty, saying that she brought them in but didn't do it intentionally, in the hopes that they'll be lenient on her. She faces up to 10 years in jail. I am on record, 5 months ago now, probably,
when this all started, when we learned about it,
that we will not see Brittany Griner leave Russia alive. Yeah. I don't see what the benefit is to Russia for her to have any. It's just a simple, stupid thing that can hold over the United States' head. I feel better about her leaving alive now than I did before. But I also feel worse about her. I figured if she was going to leave, she'd be leaving quickly. She may not be leaving quickly. It would not surprise me if they throw all 10 years at her.
Well, they're going to. I mean, they're going to throw all 10 years at her. And I think, well, you're the legal guy, so. I'm
not going to pretend to know anything about Russian legal system.
Okay, but correct me if I'm wrong, though. I mean, just because she pled guilty doesn't necessarily mean she is guilty. Now, when this all happened, I'm also on record saying I think it's 50-50 that maybe it could have been planned because we knew what was the political climate. Looking more about it, she probably did do this, and she probably just did it many times before.
Yeah, finally got caught.
And probably, well, okay. And Brittany Griner, I've also been on record. I'm not a fan of her as a person. Mm-hmm. She's said a lot of dumb shit. And I'm not talking about anti-America stuff, and because I'm staying out of that, but just in general, because it's not. How do I put this? Because I don't want to rehash things that I've already said, but for those people who I do want to say this for those of you who really hate her and because she kneeled and things she said, okay, well, and you're saying like, look at this, now she wants to come back. Like, really, guys? Like, is this really the person you want to be? Okay, I guess you're right. Brittany loves America a lot more than she used to. So
Right.
let's be the better person and just, I mean, I don't want to say that we should do everything we can to bring it back because really there's nothing we can do when it comes right down to it. But this is not a victory lap for you guys conservatives and for hardcore liberals. So it's like, oh, you know what? You know, if it was LeBron or Tom Brady, like fuck off. You can all fuck off too. Because you don't know. You don't know what they've never been in that position. We have absolutely no idea. And because you're also, and I'll say this, so if you're the type of people who say, well, if you know, if it was Tom Brady, we would have helped him out. If you're also, ask yourself this one question. If it was Tom Brady, and then they did trade him for the Merchant of Death, which could be the trade-off, as some of you may have read. He said, oh, we're doing this for a football player? Then again, fuck right off. Because then you're being tribal. I hate that, as Evan can tell you.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, and again, Griner she has a history of domestic violence. She's got some other things too.
But I don't wish 10 years. God, no, I don't.
No, 100%. 100%.
I think she should have been smarter, obviously, because she knew better. And I think when she was being treated like a superstar in Russia, there's a bit of entitlement there. I mean, I don't know that I would have been any different as, granted, she's in her 30s, but if I was a 20-something athlete who had my ass kissed, and she did to a certain point for a long period of time, your perspective gets a little bit messed up. It really does. But I do think, again, I'm more optimistic than you are. I mean, I think they're going to charge her 10 years, but I don't think she's going to serve 10 years.
Yeah, that's probably true. So,
so anyway, I do think not only that, and I'll go on this record, not only will she come back, she'll play in the WNBA again.
We'll see.
Okay, since we're there, I had a second elevator up. And who's going to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame? Did you see the stat line of Sabrina Ionescu?
No.
Okay. She, and I might have this wrong because I decided to throw this up. Now I want to bring this up because I didn't know you were going WNBA. And I know I rag on them a lot, but she accomplished a triple double and did so without a turnover.
That's pretty impressive.
That's never been done in the WNBA. And apparently the closest thing anyone ever came to that in pro basketball was Jokic.
Wow.
WNBA, market this woman.
Yeah. I mean, that's your main thing, honestly, with the WNBA, is that the people who run it don't know what they're doing.
That, and also a bit of self-awareness, because some of the people in WNBA say, like, why aren't we paid the same as men? I don't know. We're the asses in seats. And it's that simple. And I've gone, I'm not going to go there again because I've already done this, but I welcome anyone with a different position to come and have a civil discourse with me, as opposed to blocking me on Twitter.
Fair enough. All right. So lastly, the ugly. So I warned you this is going to be a little political. I'm going to try and keep I
think I know where you're going with this, but.
Yeah. So I am living in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yep.
And this week on the 4th of July, we had a shooting in Highland Park. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Highland Park, because there are people like, oh, it's Chicago.
I don't know Chicago.
So Highland Park is where they filmed Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, okay. Like
Highland Park is what?
Like the parade and all that?
No, that's in Chicago. Highland Park's actually where
the suburb?
Yeah, it's the suburb.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Highland Park is one of the most affluent cities in Illinois. I think, hold on a second.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what movies filmed in Highland Park. There are a bunch of them.
I think our audience knows Ferris Bueller, though.
Yeah. I'll get a bunch. I'm pulling it up as we're talking about it. So Risky Business was filmed in Highland Park as well.
Okay.
Probably
other John Hughes films too, maybe, huh?
Yeah, possibly. Some of them, yes, not all of them.
Okay. But yeah, go on. I know where you're going, but
so we had a 4th of July parade, which is attended by dozens of good guys with guns.
Okay.
Who were helpless against one bad guy with a weapon that was so scary the folks in Texas wouldn't run into the room when kids were dying in an elementary school. I have friends who are directly in the line of fire.
There?
In Highland Park.
Holy shit.
One in particular who is very, very well known in the Chicago community. I'm not going to mention who he is.
Okay.
One of the foremost people in this field. He's lived in Highland Park for 36 years.
Okay.
I've been friends with him now for 5 years. Very, very interesting man.
Okay.
Older than me by quite a few years, but we've had some real good conversations and stuff.
Okay.
The person directly behind him was hit in the ear by a bullet. So this is how close we're talking. Okay.
Okay.
There has to be a better way to live.
Mm-hmm.
The solution to the gun problem can't be introducing more of them. I'm trying not to be snarky here, right? But when you heard of Uvalde, that if they had fewer doors, everything would have been fine. How many fewer doors do you need on a public street?
I don't know.
And
I'll let you continue, because like a lot of this.
let me just finish.
Yeah.
We can't be in a situation with this is the only country in the world where this happens routinely.
Mm-hmm.
We are averaging 11 incidents a day this year in which 2 or more people are shot in this country. 11 a day for 2022 so far.
Not only that, it's also in all walks of life. So,
it's everywhere. You could be at a supermarket in Buffalo. You could be at an elementary school in Texas. You can be at a parade in Illinois. You can be anywhere.
Show.
Yeah, right.
I can't keep them all straight. And again, Evan and I, we've tried as we sort of been feeling this out. We try not to go political, but when it hits really home, and I know like the next Canadian election, so will I. So apologies for those who may not want to hear it, but
just go ahead and skip. This is all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So
this kid who has the gun, 6 months ago, threatened to kill his whole family. It was reported to the authorities, and yet his father still signed his FOIA card, and they saw no reason.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
That's a card to get a license, federal firearms license.
Okay.
His father still sponsored him for his FOIA card after he was reported to the police for threatening to kill his whole family. And they couldn't find a reason to stop him. This is the type of person we don't need getting a gun. Now, we can't stop everybody. I understand we can't stop everybody from getting a weapon. But there's certain people who, if they are known to law enforcement as being violent people who've made threats, they should not have access to guns legally. If they get access to gun illegally, I get it, right? But all these shootings, the one thing they have in common, all these guns were received legally.
In every case?
And almost like Uvalde it was, in Buffalo it was. They're all young men, young white men, who are getting weapons of war legally.
Yeah, but yeah.
To shoot people up. There's got to be a better way. People are like, well, it's a guaranteed right, or you're not banning cars. No, but we're regulating cars. My daughter can't just go get a car and just drive somewhere. She has to go through training. She has to go through licensing. She has to go through a whole bunch of stuff to drive a car legally. Now, she'll be 10 next week, so she can't even reach the pedals. But if she were 14 and could stole the car and crashed into something, well, that's a problem, right? But she's not doing that legally. There's recourse if she steals my neighbor's car and does something, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be legal recourse or the ability to stop people who aren't supposed to be with a weapon to not have a weapon. I don't know how we do this, but there has to be a way to do this.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of this, I guess, living in Canada, I mean, it's not like we haven't had mass shootings before. We have, as have pretty much every.
Yeah, but what happened in Australia when they had mass shooting? They banned the guns. And have they had a mass shooting since? No.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still possible, but it's a hell of a lot harder.
It's a hell of a lot harder.
And
the kid in Uvalde,
yeah,
he waited till his 18th birthday so he could get the gun. So the regulations worked because he couldn't get it until he turned 18. Like
there's I don't know. There's just so much that can be said, and the thing that scares me, and probably yourself until maybe recently, I don't know this, but it's different for you with kids, because I don't have any offspring that I've ever met. So
Okay, Elon.
He threw me off there. I think what scares me is I've become numb.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Americans
Well,
too.
they had a poll that came out this week of the things that are most important to Americans in this country, and number one was inflation. Out of the things that they had, what percentage of people you think that guns and gun violence was the most important thing in this country?
What percentage?
Yeah, what percentage said that was it?
I wouldn't even try to hazard a guess.
Just take a guess.
Okay, well, is this like in a pie chart? Like it's like
yeah, they had. What do you think? And literally, the question is, what do you think is the most difficult challenge facing the United States right now?
All right, so I guess I'll say 4%.
You're close. You overestimated. It was 3.
Okay, I was actually going under where I thought. Okay,
it was 3%.
Again,
so
I get it.
And a lot of it is just because we're so freaking numb to it. But there has to be a way that there's no one else in the world lives like this.
No. No, it's
in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Mm-hmm. There's no reason that we should have to. And that's as political as I'm getting. I'm just saying that I have other things. I have some barely contained rage that's been coming out over the last few weeks that I haven't wanted to go into, as you know, on this subject. Mm-hmm. But we have to be able to have a conversation about doing something where the people who should not have weapons cannot obtain them legally.
And I have to agree with you. It's I don't have an answer. Because again, this is a very in Canada, we don't know things like this regularly. Mm-hmm. We just don't.
And the arguments in order to keep weapons like this, weapons of war, right? Handguns are one thing, but sure. Where you can shoot 30 rounds in 15 seconds or whatever it is, something ridiculous like that, right? That's a weapon of war. And we have one senator who says, well, we need it so we could shoot feral hogs down here in Alabama, which definitely seems worth the life of kids across country. I think if you're using feral hogs, you need to be able to produce a certain number of feral hog carcasses on an annual basis in order to keep the weapon. I have no trouble with a feral hog carve out, provided that you are actually using it for that purpose. But
yeah, that's never sort of like that bullseye either, huh? It's always a person, and it's never a feral
it should be feral hogs.
Well, there we go. Well, I think we've solved a little bit. You start doing that.
Yeah, but it's just.
I don't mean to make light of it, Evan. Again, we don't know this stuff. So like when this stuff happens regularly in the States, I think I was in a bar when I heard this, and just overhearing just people talk about that because
I on the 3rd of July I was at a different we did go out on the 4th, mm-hmm. But on the 3rd because it was supposed to thunderstorm. It did thunderstorm on the 4th like crazy. We had like hail that was looked like this coming down. But on the 3rd of July we went out, and I'm not gonna lie, I was there with my kids at this thing over in Hoffman Estates, another suburb further west. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a perfect target. Like there were no police officers. They were going to just walk in here.
And I'm sure you're not alone in the United States. I'm sure that happens a lot. And I never think that ever. I guess that's sort of a difference between that and I don't know, man.
I was in the mall here in Woodfield 2 years ago, probably 3 years ago now, when someone crashed a car into the mall and drove it through. And
why'd they do it? What was their motivation?
Crazy. I don't know. It was the only entrance to the mall that didn't have those like things in front of it. You know, those cement blocks you can't actually drive something into the mall. It was the only one that didn't have it. He drove in, was driving around, but as soon as he drove through, everybody thought it was a shooting. And people, I was actually above where he came in. So he came into Sears, which was right next to the food court where I was. And he came in, and everyone all of a sudden just starts running towards me, screaming, "There's a shooter." Okay, that's the closest I've come to one of these things. I'll be honest, since that moment, every single building I'm in, the first thing I do is check exits. The first thing I do is if something happens, or like I was in the doctor's waiting room yesterday, I checked if someone walked in here and did something crazy, what chair should I sit
in? And I think the thing that sort of hits me a little hard just hearing this, because I've gotten to know you pretty well. You're not a fearful person.
No,
So you
but
have
I think it quickly. Like I feel like Wild Bill
sure.
Hickok, right?
But
I'm
no,
not like
no, I know, but I mean, like you haven't altered your life like some people might have. So you're still
no.
doing everything, but you've already got that first level of preparedness.
Yeah, right.
That is foreign to me.
If
Yeah.
someone comes in here, like I said, this was actually Monday. Tuesday. I was at the doctor's office getting blood drawn,
Yeah.
in the lab area, and I was just like, the odds someone coming in here are really really small. But if they do, what seat are they least likely to see me?
Mhm.
And that's the seat I took. And then after that, I didn't think about it yet, right? But I'd already taken the step that, hey, this is a seat I'm most likely, I have the most options to get out of this alive.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. I have a fight or flight response to just stupidly fight because I have no real ability to take anybody out, but that's just, I don't run away.
Mhm.
I had a friend come up behind me once and surprise me at night at a T station in Boston. I was just waiting outside for someone to come pick me up. And he came up behind me and surprised me, and I almost knocked him out.
Yeah.
Like that should not have been
That's
my
good. That's good for me to remember this in the future. But
that should not be my first response. It's just what it is, right?
Well, there's a lot of people like that.
And I'm stupid enough that I might try something to help the situation, but I'm always thinking at this point, where do I go?
Man, I'm sure it's also different with the kids, right? Now you're thinking of that.
Oh, 100% different with the kids.
All
I mean,
right.
I would jump in front of a bullet if they got a little more breath.
I would do that for my dog. I can't even imagine the parenting thing of that. So
Anyway,
but I would.
Anyway, so that I try not to go. I
No,
told you I had to go.
no, but that's okay. Sometimes we have to.
I've been quiet about this now it's been undercurrent now for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like I brought it up before when Uvalde happened and when Buffalo happened. And
yeah.
Like this is just my friends' updates on Facebook as to everything that's happening and all the resources and everything and how close he came. He was a member of the congregation where the leader of the youth program for the Jewish temple, he was a member of that congregation. And one of the kids one of the families in there, their 8-year-old got shot directly in the chest and survived so far, but may never walk again.
What?
Yeah, because this kid was at a freaking parade. Just dumb. Anyway, sorry, I'm done.
No, it's all good. Well, I'm going to start plugging things. It's a horrible segue, but that's the best I got.
There's no good segue. So,
Chavo Guerrero, Instant Classic, a book I wrote about the late great Chavo Guerrero Sr. Please get that on Amazon if you haven't already, because you should have already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I hear next May it will make a great Cinco de Mayo gift.
There you go.
Yeah, sometimes I'm thinking ahead. Tomorrow we're going to have a reaction show with a lot of the people you may have seen here on the Not in Hall of Fame family, where we're going to take a deeper look at this group of candidates. So if you want to be a part of that in the future, please let us know. Next week, I'm going to tell Evan who is the new top 10 on the hockey list.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's the hockey list.
Your Turgeon.
He moved up.
Oh, good. Because everybody else in front of him got elected.
Yes. And there's next year, it's going to be very, very wide open. So I think it could be very, very interesting. So I think we're going to be talking a lot of that because there's only one real big name and nobody else.
Fair enough.
That opens things up. So we're going to be discussing that. Vinny's always back when he makes the Hall of Fame case he made a case for John Burlier, a football player who was dead probably 100 years before he was born, but he makes a good case for him anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 100 years before Vinny was born. That's a football player. 100 years dead 100 years before the football player was born. That's the more interesting.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, oh no, it's just the way the phrasing came. So.
Oh, okay. Well, before Vinny was born. So we'll check that out. We got a request. It's been a while since we've done this crap was on national television, but somebody was requested one, and so we're looking at that. So there's going to be another episode of that soon. Eventually, we're going to get back to the classic sports review. I'm trying to put all that together, and Andrea Tessman, Brad Nelson, and I, they hate me because I keep picking songs they really, really hate. I gave them Debbie. This is what we got next Tuesday. Debbie Boone's "You Light Up My Life."
Oh boy. If they need me to audible another good song, let me know.
well, the whole point is this. How the hell did this go number one? When we did,
Right.
we just recorded. That'll go up soon. We did LMFAO.
Yep.
Party
That's
Rock Anthem.
that's Party Rock Anthem is my son's favorite
Yeah,
song.
oh, that's right. Yes, yeah, I mentioned that last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's moved from Outcast. He still loves the entire Outcast catalog, but he's now moved from So Fresh and So Clean to the Party Rock Anthem as his last song before he goes to bed.
that song's probably going to last a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much talked about how it wasn't necessarily lightning in a bottle, but it was just maybe it's not Shakespeare, but sometimes they don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with all of that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe, everyone.
Take care.